This here is my first guitar, a Squier, the 20th anniversary. Many years ago. I've converted it to electric without having any idea what I was doing. The pickup is underneath the saddle. One of the things, this was already cracked, which you can see here. This is JB Weld holding this together. And then all of this is glue residue from stickers that I had all over the guitar many years ago. Like, you can kind of pick up the outline of where a sticker was and then where it's been worn out from handling it. When I was cleaning it at one point, I was taking acetone just to try and loosen up the glue because it's really on there. I ended up taking the matte black paint off of the bridge, and underneath here it's a very light white wood. The neck also has the same matte black paint on it. Up here you can see that it's just the raw wood, and then as it goes down, it's been played so much that I've actually played through the black paint that's on there from the factory. And down here was just kind of proof of concept to see if I could actually remove it all with that, and I could. So up here I actually didn't do that much because this was already heavily worn down, so I just kind of wiped it and it came right off. The thing with this is the neck is completely straight all the way down. It's perfectly straight, and the action is high down here but not down here. So if I were to adjust the truss rod in the neck to pull this down, it's gonna rub on the first fret here. So that brings me to the saddle, which is too high because it has the pickup underneath it. What I'm gonna have to do is take this apart, I'm changing the bridge, get this all back down to the wood, get some linseed oil or something to hydrate it a little bit. This has never been maintained since I got this guitar. I don't even know how long ago, probably, if I had to guess, 15 years ago, maybe longer. So once the neck is all done, I'm going to be taking the bridge off. I'm going to be changing it with one with the same wood color. I have white pegs for the strings to match all of the white along here, a new saddle, and then over here, just from many years of never having a stand for it, it's bumped into things. It's getting kind of beat up, and you can even see that this one here is actually broken. At one point, these started stripping. So what I did was I took them out and I reversed them, because you can see that this is on the outside. So if you were to reverse it, it goes down here, which is what these holes were because it was stripped. So I just took all of the right side ones out and I put them on the left side ones on the right side. But then after doing that, I wanted to swap them back because it moved them all down to kind of like an awkward angle. So they've all been moved back to their original position now, and that's more JB Weld holding the screw holes together. They also have like random screws that I found from like computer parts and stuff to hold it together. So this is just kind of like a whole hack together to keep it working guitar, but it's my first guitar, so I kind of want to fix it up a little bit. Basically, this guitar has been through absolute hell and back. These little dings and stuff here that you see all over it with the discoloration, that's actually automotive body filler, because those were really deep hits, and my initial plan was I wanted to repaint the guitar. Here's another one here, and this one was actually interfering with playing because you could feel it. But overall, I'm pretty well just going to be touching up little areas with red paint. I kind of like it just being kept the way that it has evolved over the years. I just want it to, you know, play a little bit better. It still plays fine. You can see that these strings are like disgustingly tarnished. Like this one is black all the way through. You can hear it, the amount of corrosion on these strings. So now let's start taking this thing apart. You can see how loose these are. You can hear that bridge setting back down. The tension's off of it, which is initially what started all of this. Just the guitar won't stay in tune because the bridge is coming off. Right in here, I tried to file it down a little bit to make it fit better. Definitely did not do a very good job at that. Essentially what I did was I took the saddle and I put it down onto the stock height, traced around it with a Sharpie, which is the silver right there. And then I just took a Dremel and I tried to grind it down to be the same height as what it normally was minus the pickup. So I'm actually gonna have to disconnect this. if you could notice from before, but it was sitting at this god-awful angle, really far forward. It was like that. Hopefully I can get the height proper, and then we'll be able to get the action down and actually play it right. So now we can take all of these off. Pop these guys out. So we have gold ones, one screw. Now the question is, which way do I want to mount these? There may even be an actual direction these are supposed to go. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just kind of figuring all of this out as I go. So once that's in, to drill a new hole. So I'm gonna have to fill that other one because it's right beside it and it doesn't line up to the hole. That'll be crooked. So put it straight. I'll have to fill the hole, drill a new hole. This can just go here. Much better. So I think that'll look pretty good, especially with the gold strings. Red and gold, white. I got 80/20 brass strings from DR. Those should match nicely. It's a pretty good match. So I think this will clean it up. Remove a good portion of the dust. Dust is all removed. Next step is to take the bridge off and then start cleaning up the neck. Slowly but surely. These should line up, and they do. Okay, and now we have the outline of where the little pegs are gonna go. Some kind of pick. Just take this, hook it right in the middle. And there's my indents to drill into. Actually, I already have the depth set. Drill into these holes, goes right to there. So I know to only go to the tape. Tiny little bit of wood glue in here, a little bit in here, shove it in here, spin it around, make sure it's all good. And this guy here, spin that around. Cool. So now I can take the acetone and take the rest of the paint off of the neck. And then this antique oil, the store only had 2. It was either this or tung oil. And from what I looked at online, tung oil takes like minimum 3 days to cure. This is supposed to cure overnight. So now I just have to clean this off. I have a cut on my hand. Oh my God, burns. God damn it. Well, the paint is removed. Scuff pad. Scuff this a little bit. Wipe or brush a generous coat in the direction of the grain. After 5 to 10 minutes, buff evenly with a clean lint-free cloth. For additional body and gloss, repeat after 24 hours. Okay, well, hope for the best. Now I just have to wait till tomorrow when it's dry. The neck came out pretty good. The bridge came out pretty good. Now I'm doing the back of the headstock. I'm literally just gonna kind of pick at it with a razor blade. Well, it's about a year later now, and it's finally time to finish this up. So I'm going to shove this pillow under here, kind of prop that up a little bit. I have the bridge here. This one was one that I replaced. The majority of the glue was all towards the top and the bottom, and then it didn't spread out very well because I didn't have the proper clamps for it. So what I ended up doing was I just stuck it on just like that, and I just put a bunch of weight on it, and that was what I was hoping would work, and it did for a while. But when I went to go change my strings, the uneven tension lifted it up even more, to the point where I literally just pulled it off with my hand. It was just this seam along the edge that was still holding. Now as for the clamp, I don't have the special C clamps, like the 5-6 inch clamps, and I can't find them anywhere. I tried checking on Amazon, and the cheapest ones that I found were like $30 each, and on some YouTube videos that I ended up watching, they said you need like 3 to 5 of them, and at $30 each I could literally just go buy like another one of these, so it's just not worth fixing. But this being my first guitar, I did want to fix it. I ended up picking up this thing. I think it was like 25 bucks. It took forever for it to show up, like over a month waiting for this thing to show up from China. From what I understand, I couldn't find many videos of people actually using these, so you have to take these screws here and put them through the center holes, then take the wing nut and tighten it on the back, and that's supposed to align this so it doesn't move at all. Then you take these longer ones and run those from the inside all the way through on the outer holes. So that way you're gonna have 2 mounts on the inside holding that down, 2 mounts on the outside holding that down. And once this is actually affixed to the soundboard and the bridge, you then take these little shims and put them on here just so it doesn't damage the wood of the bridge. And you just take these little screws here and you tighten them down, and that's going to apply the pressure on the outside. At least that's to my understanding. I didn't watch any videos or anything on how to do this, so I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go, but that to me makes sense. So now all I have to do is I have to bring this out to the garage, put it on the surface plate. I'm gonna sand all the glue off, make sure it's nice and level, get deep 40 grit scratches going all the way across this, and then I'm going to take a razor and make some hatch marks going all the way across, and then I'm just gonna be doing the exact same thing here. And then I have the 2 pegs that went in here on each side, so I can stick those back in as well. So I got a piece of 40 grit sandpaper here, and all I'm gonna be doing is just taking this and I'm gonna be sanding in 45-degree angles and then 45-degree angles. And I'm just gonna keep going back and forth until it completely levels down. I'm gonna be checking the bottom to make sure that I'm not sanding too much on one side or another, and if I am, then just adjust my hand to put more pressure on whichever side needs more pressure. And that's it. So now I just get to sit here and sand this forever. I really should have bought a new one of these because they're like 12 bucks. Also, in hindsight, if you are doing this, you're gonna want to tape the piece of sandpaper down. Just put a piece of tape on each side to hold it in place. But it is so ridiculously cold in here right now that nothing is actually going to stick to this steel plate. Like, I don't know if you can see that outside, but there is a lot of snow, and it's just snowing more. Like, it's freezing. And there's no heat in here. Like, I can try and tape this down. Like, this tape is so cold, it doesn't stick to anything. I just have to hold it with my hand. I gotta work with what I got, so I'm just gonna keep sanding at this, and then hopefully I will have it level by some point, and then I can bring the sandpaper in the house and do the exact same thing to the guitar. So this is all sanded down level, which was actually a good thing that I sanded it down level. After checking on the surface plate itself, this actually wasn't level when I bought it. You can kind of see here and here, there's a slight discoloration because a lot more material was removed from the middle, and when I actually checked all the way down, it's completely flat across now. So when I bought this, this was actually a high point before. So now I'm just trying to sand without going past the tape. Now, ideally, I could use something to fill this in, so that way it's completely level all the way across. The adhesion of the glue is only going to be as strong as whatever filler I put onto there. So if I just use glue as the filler, then it's going to be adhered through itself. So I figured that'll give me the best adhesion, because then it's not one thing in between another, and then I'm relying on the adhesion between this, the filler, and then the glue on the filler. So I'm just going to leave it, but that could be something worth looking into. Some of the tape just started peeling up there a little bit, so I just put another piece down, because I mean the guitar's pretty beat up, but I don't want to make it worse. using a little nylon brush here just to try and get in all the little areas that I can't, so it gets rid of all the dust. I'm just going to take this razor blade and I'm just going to score everywhere just to try and get as many deep grooves in this that I can. And this is as painful for me as it is for you. Now the problem area before was this part right here. And you can even see in the evidence here where it peeled before was all right in here. So all of this area right here where the finish is still level, that's where it didn't even adhere from the factory. So all the way at the top here and then all the way down at the bottom. So it only adhered right here in the middle. So this area here is where I'm trying to get the most damage. So that way the glue will sink right into there. The more coarse this is, the more likely the glue is going to adhere correctly. Oh God, this hurts me to do this. It's for the greater good. Gonna be better. So the body basically done. Now we just gotta score this thing up. I'm trying to not go all the way to the edges because it might be visible. I'm not sure. I've never done this before. And if you're watching this video, then that means it worked. Because if it didn't work, then I brought this to an actual luthier who could fix it for me. But COVID, so I can't really go to many places to get things fixed. There's only 2 guitar shops here and they're not open because of COVID. They didn't even bother reopening. This is what I got. Random things that I got off of Amazon in like half of a YouTube video. I'm just gonna scuff back over this again just to make sure there's no high spots. So it's all cleaned up, so I'm gonna take the tape off because it's gonna line up to the holes anyway. I don't need this anymore. I am going to put a healthy amount of glue on here, but just as a precaution, in case any drips inside, I'm going to lay a piece of paper towel down, so that way if anything does drip, it drips on the paper towel, and then I can take the paper towel out after. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but that paper towel is like directly below. I'm going to cover this with way too much glue, and I'm going to drill the holes out again after. So we definitely have too much glue on here, which is perfect. We're gonna have a lot of seepage, which is kind of what I'm after. Make sure I'm not gonna have any pockets of air bubbles inside. Kind of lost the holes. These were like around here somewhere. There's 1, okay, there we go. And then 2, and then here. Make sure I got a lot of glue all over everything. I'm also going to put a bunch of glue on here. Okay, and I'm gonna wipe it all up after. Oh my God, there's glue all over the floor. Okay, a little bit unprepared here. The bridge can just go on. Gonna line up the holes with the pegs. That will hold it centered. Okay, that is a lot of squeeze out. I got glue everywhere. I'm just gonna leave that for now. I gotta get these screws here. I can't open them because now my hands are wet. These have to go through the center ones. I popped a saddle out there. This glue is very sticky. I hate sticky. Okay, so we can pop that screw through. These are a Phillips. And of course the screwdriver sucks. Awesome. Okay, so let's take the screwdriver. We're just gonna hold the wing nut here so it's horizontal, so that way it's not gonna interfere with this one when we tighten that one down. That's pretty tight. Next one. Okay, so the first 2 are tight. I am very sticky. This is very uncomfortable. I'm just gonna loosen these things. I'm just gonna take them right out actually. Now we can take these wing nuts off, these bolts out. Do the same thing with this side. Get this one out. Now this thing should just like sit like that. So now these come with an included Allen head wrench. So we're gonna take this and we're going to shove it through this one here. Now we can do number 2. I'm just using the force right now, trying to figure out where that hole is. Now we can take this little bracket thing, and this is gonna go on just like that. And I guess we gotta put these washers here. Now we can put the wing nuts on. Now the thing you wanna do here is try to make these even. So right now you can see that it's just sticking out a little bit there and just sticking out a little bit there. So these are the same right now. So we're gonna do half a turn, half a turn. So that's going to apply equal force. So that's pretty even mounting pressure. As the last piece of the puzzle, before I do that, I'm gonna try and clean up some of this glue because a little bit more is gonna squeeze out, but it's gonna be a little bit harder to clean once we have those plates on. I have so much glue everywhere. So I have a wet rag now, so now I can actually clean this stuff up. Dry it up a little bit. Now we can put these little plates in. I can go in completely straight. Just start putting it in. Now the good thing about wood glue is it doesn't stick to metal very well. So I'm not too concerned with the glue getting stuck to all of these screws and stuff. It'll crack loose as soon as I'm trying to remove it. At least it should. No guarantee that it will. So that's pretty even mounting pressure. A high strength wood adhesive for quality carpentry projects. Yeah, this is carpentry. And clamp for 25 minutes. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch this for like 2 days. I never want to do this again. So I'm gonna make sure this thing is very, very dry. I don't want anything to go wrong. I mean, aside from everything that's already gone wrong. Take the wet one now, clean the rest of that wood glue up, so that way it's not everywhere. And the GoPro died. Sick. It's all clamped together. These have even pressure, these have even pressure, and then the two in the center have even pressure. I'm gonna let it sit for about maybe half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'm just gonna hang it back on the stand on the wall. And I'm just gonna leave it there. That'll hopefully be enough time to stop it from dripping down, so that way it can actually dry in this position, and then it'll cure while it's hanging up on the wall. Yeah, in 2 days we'll pick it up. So you know, it's about 2 days later, or about a week and a half, going on 2 weeks now, because I kind of forgot about this. So all we have to do is just take this clamp off now, and hopefully it actually comes off, and then we just have to adjust the height here of the saddle to the pickup, so that way we can get the action down more on the lower section of the neck. So we just drill out the holes to make sure that the string pegs and everything go back in, put new strings on, and then I guess that's it. I'm gonna start by taking these things off. Now these ones here had that Allen head on the inside. So there's a little bit of glue that I'm gonna have to clean up here, but that's minor details. I expected that some of this was going to have to get sanded. There was glue everywhere. Pretty sure I got enough that it's not gonna come flying off again. Hopefully that's good. Just take these out now. Now I can take these ones out. There's one. I just have to clean this up with a razor blade. I'm just gonna try and chip most of this off. As you can see, it just comes right off because I had this oiled before. So the top being oiled means that the glue should come off relatively easy. And then I can just get a drill bit to drill through all of the peg holes. That'll clear them out. And then we can get the pickup to put back in here, and I can drill the hole for the wire to go through. And then we can just adjust the height of the saddle, so that way we can get it back in here and we can get the action down lower on the neck. I'm just gonna continue doing this till I get it all good. I'm gonna mask around it so I don't hit the surface, but I'm just gonna sand it with 320 and then just get like a good scuff with a Scotch-Brite, and then I'm going to rehydrate it with whatever that oil was that I was using before. I think I still have it in the garage. And I'm gonna clean the fingerboard, I'm gonna do the same thing, polish the frets. Then we're attacking the saddle from there. Sick. I love it when I have the GoPro on my head so I can't see what I'm doing, and I went to go hit record and take the GoPro off because I'm done and ready to go find drill bits, and when I hit the button it started recording, so at some point I had stopped recording and it didn't work and I didn't hear it, so it wasn't recording the entire time I was doing all of this, and it recorded all of the stuff that I didn't want to be recording. So at this current time, I just sanded down the entire thing, so now it's completely smooth. That was with 320. I masked off the whole thing with tape and everything, so I don't know. There's no glue left on it. I just have to drill holes now, so I'm gonna go get drill bits. Great. After getting home with this new set that I picked up, I immediately found my original set that I couldn't find, which is why I bought the new one. So that's the kind of day I'm having. It kind of works out. This set doesn't have an 11/64 drill bit, which is the size that I need, and that's the size that was in this one. Now all I gotta do is just drill these holes out. Now for the pickup, I just have to drill a hole in the edge for the wire to go through. So for that, I'm gonna be using this 1/8. So I'm just going to drill the one hole right in this corner. Just try sanding in here just a little bit. Should just be able to slide this right through. Now this is the issue that I was having before, was that I didn't get the height right. So this was sitting too high when I initially tried sanding it down, and it was leaning forward a lot, and that's what ended up causing it to crack. And then when I fixed it, the gauge of the strings on the high side were obviously too small, so they were gonna cut into that JB Weld repair. So I just flipped it around and it worked. The intonation is obviously off because I did that, but I mean, it was very minor, so it was still playable. I just have to take the pickup out. I have to trace out where it's going to be for the height, cut that down, and then we should be at a normal height. So all I'm doing here is I'm just lining this up so that way I can trace out the top and I'll have kind of a ballpark on where to sand to. So that's pretty good. So that's how much we want to take off. So I've done the edges, both sides. Bring this out to the garage, to the surface plate, and I can just start sanding this down to close to there, and then I'm gonna keep checking back and forth just to make sure that I'm not going too far. So it's a slow and painful process. I got the height all set, and I just kind of polished down the edges a little bit, so that way the black marker was gone. It doesn't wiggle around at all, so that's good. I just took this like crowning file, and I just quickly went over the frets just to make sure everything was good all the way down. I just get to put the preamp back in. Well, you already saw me take that apart, so there's no point making a video of putting that all back together. And then I just have to oil these, which again, you already saw me do, so I don't need to show you how to do that again. So once this is all done, I'm just going to string it, and then we'll just hear how it sounds now that everything's gonna be fixed. Still have to like clean up fingerprints and whatever, but it's basically it. Bridge is back on. It held great this time. It didn't make any noise at all when I was putting the strings on. The saddle height is like perfect now. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but the action, it's like perfect. So now it's a lot more playable. I did end up putting too much of that oil on and it gave it kind of like a glossy finish to it. So I'm kind of hoping that'll fade because it's oil, so it will eventually go away. So hopefully that goes back to just like a normal wood finish, not like glossy. Like I don't know if you can see it, but it's like super glossy now. It is like completely dry. Like it's completely dry to the touch. Not leaving any fingerprints or anything. I'm not getting anything sticky on my hands. But I guess for now, over a year later, it's finally back together. It's finally working. It's one solid guitar again. And that was the goal here. So that's it. All we have to do now is just hear what it sounds like. That's it. It's done. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you learned something about how to fix your own guitar. Subscribe if you haven't, or leave some comments or something. Or don't do any of it. I'm not telling you what to do.